Welcome to Citizens Forum. Today is Tuesday, March 17th, and we're here in beautiful downtown Victoria in the Memorial Arena. And today we're going to be talking to Sofija Lazovic. Sofija helped with the demonstrations that happened in Victoria last weekend, and she's going to be talking about what happened in Victoria, but also what happened across the country.
Yes, so across the country we had about 70 protests from Victoria, Salt Spring, Nanaimo, all the way down to St. John's. So all throughout Canada we had actions organized against Bill C-51, raising awareness, and it all happened in a relatively short period of time, but we mobilized thousands of people across the country in a really significant way.
Now, were the people that you were, was a whole lot of different organizations involved, or was it just one organization that?
It was kickstarted by Lead Now, and then a few other organizations became a part of it. So in Victoria, for example, we had the political parties became involved, Dogwood Initiative became involved. In other parts, it was different unions, different student groups. So it all depended on the city, but in Victoria, we had quite a few organizations that were part of the movement as well.
So, you know, Bill C-51, I think most people that are paying attention know that this is quite a draconian legislation. Do you think the Canadian public are now starting to catch on that this is a pretty serious attack on our civil liberties and democracy?
Yes. So it was introduced in about January, and it didn't catch on, and it wasn't really in the media for a little while. And I think this was just one of those things that the Harper government introduced that just crossed the line. So there's been so much legislation that has really irked people the wrong way, but this is the one thing that set people over the edge, and we've realized that it really just is too much at this point, and people mobilized across the entire country in a day of action where there were tens of thousands of people who hit the streets to tell Harper that it's really, this is enough. Enough is enough, and we're through with these draconian laws that are really teetering on fascism. In my own opinion, I would say they fit the definition, but I think the Canadian public has had enough of him.
Now, so, you know, going forward now that, you know, that was quite a successful organization to be able to do that right across the country. Do you know approximately how many people participated in all in Canada?
The numbers are a little bit difficult to estimate. The organizers have somewhere in the tens of thousands, but when media reports, media goes directly to the police estimates, and police always put the numbers a lot lower. And we saw that here in Victoria, where some websites and other news sources were reporting hundreds of people, whereas we had sociologists and professors and different people within different organizations reporting over 2,000. So it's a little bit tricky, and I really have no way of gauging.
That's a political thing in itself.
Exactly.
We often have seen that happen in many other cases where you'd see a huge crowd and then you'd see some small number in the papers. But I was there myself. I thought it was a fantastic rally.
Thank you.
Now, what do you think is going to be happening in the future? Do you think there's going to be other rallies to happen or any other demonstrations?
We've heard whispers of a few more rallies, especially one maybe on the day that the bill is supposed to be voted into law, which is March 31st. So either on that day or a few days beforehand, there's been whispers of more rallies. In my personal opinion, I would want at least one more action where we mobilize those people who came out on March 14th across the country. I want to mobilize them one more time. We have here in Victoria, the organizing team has letters addressed to Trudeau that can be folded up into an envelope and stuck right into the mailbox, no postage required. There's leadnow.ca has lots of different resources as well that we can contact communities with. So there's lots of things we can be doing to mobilize.
So we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank Sofija Lazovic for coming in today, and good luck in all your endeavors in the future, and hopefully we can stop this legislation from going through.
Hello, welcome to segment 2 of Citizens Forum, the Walter and Jack Show. Again, March 17th. I want to start off just by finishing off on what you guys were talking about earlier about Bill C-51. Years ago, a lawyer told me that these are the laws of Nazi Germany being put in place, and that was going back to 2001. Now they've just taken it further and further. I saw, we made a video of a talk about Bill C-51. My email address appears at the bottom of the screen sometime. If you send me an email, I'll send you a link to the video of the talk, and there's also an analysis by the BC Civil Liberties Association in the same email. So you'll actually get some information. And really, I mean, CSIS will be constrained. They cannot, under Bill C-51, commit murder, rape, or torture. But up to that, they seem to be relatively free to do what they want. There's no more what's called oversight, there's review. Oversight means somebody independent of CSIS is watching them and making sure they're acting within the law. That's gone, right? Somebody years later may take a look and say, no, they weren't, but by then somebody else's life has been ruined. It seems they can go into bank accounts and take money. They can smear you. I mean, it is, it's unbelievable. The media, I consider the media to be fully implicated in this, because this could not happen without the media's full support. You know, it's funny, there's editorials against it. So if you read the editorial page, yeah, there's an essay, yeah, man, the Globe and Mail or the Times Colonist is really against it. But there's nothing on the front page, so it's not bringing the whole thing into the public domain where everybody's talking about it. Because it's the corporations behind it. It's the corporations calling the shots, their politicians, Stephen Harper, the puppet, bringing in the law, and the media making sure that there's not enough fury in Canada to stop it. And it's going to be passed, according to what your guest said, the end of this month. Unbelievable.
You know, I'm so relieved that they can't murder and rape, Jack, but it seems they can do everything else, you know, and it's startling. And as many things we've said to each other over the last couple of years being on the show about how bad things are, it just doesn't seem to going to end. We have a situation where really the Canadian democracy, for whatever it was worth, is being trashed. And you know, Jack, add to it, you know, I was watching a clip on the news with some New Democrats in Ottawa talking about this, and they're not getting it. You know, they understand how bad it is, but they're not drawing the connections, you know, and they're certainly not seeing the big picture globally and really understanding what this agenda is. And it's a bit terrifying. I mean, it can give you nightmares when you start thinking about it.
Yeah, it's like the corporations are taking over the country. These laws are being put in place basically to allow the new secret police that are being created to go after those of us who are not willing to completely give in to the corporate agenda of the destruction of our society, the destruction of our environment, and the destruction of our economy, and the poisoning of all of us. So if you're opposed to the next pipeline, or you're opposed to fracking, or you want some democracy, you can be captured under this new bill, and they can go after you. That's what I mean when I say it's the laws of Nazi Germany. And we should remember that corporate America, many of the same corporations who still exist today, corporate America funded Adolf Hitler and the Nazis in the early years to get them into power. And so when I say the laws of Nazi Germany, people shouldn't sort of laugh and dismiss it, because it's the same kinds of people who have far too much power. You know, they say power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's true. The corporations have too much power, and they are corrupting everything in order to maintain that power as they steal and take more and more from all of us, murder us basically with their poisons and pollutants and everything else, and destroy our society at the same time.
You know, and we are just locked into such a, we're being put in such a bad position right now, because like, you know, who do you turn to? You know, who do we appeal to? Where in the bureaucracy can we try to straighten this out? There's no place to go. and even our politicians who are valiantly, some of them battling this, really have to be calling a spade and really identifying the big picture issues here, and not playing along in any stretch of the imagination. The whole terrorist threat is a fabrication. It's a public relations exercise. It's a massive one being directed by public relations firms that know what they're doing. And they're pulling the strings here with our politicians.
Well, okay, so you're saying that the entire terrorist thing is being fabricated. Let's talk about that.
Well, this you know, something that I read in the paper this weekend, the good old Times columnist had an article, but you really had to plow into it to see what the heck was going on. Basically, it was a story about somebody who was caught smuggling children from Turkey into Syria, two 15-year-old girls and a 16-year-old.
Are these the girls from
England?
Okay, so the three girls from England.
That's right.
Who have been all over the news because they've gone to fight for ISIS or whatever. Yeah. But now we find out that.
Well, this fellow that was a Syrian that was trying to immigrate to Canada, trying to find ways to get into Canada, happened upon he was in Jordan, went to the Canadian embassy in Jordan, and he met with the Jordanian ambassador from Canada, who was just appointed in 2013, and he was Stephen Harper's ex-security officer.
So you mean Stephen Harper's one of his guards or something, became Canada's ambassador to Jordan. Okay.
And also to Iraq. So you have this extraordinary situation where you have a CSIS agent becoming an ambassador to Jordan. Some way or other, either this fellow was recruited by the ambassador to Jordan, or the guy came in and made an appeal, but he ended up working in Turkey, smuggling people across the border into Syria to join ISIS.
So you're saying there's a link between the Canadian government and operatives smuggling people to work with ISIS?
You can't get much more direct than this, Jack. You have Harper's security guard. He makes him the Jordanian ambassador who runs an agent in Turkey to smuggle people into Syria to help ISIS. Now, we're not talking about just people, we're talking about children. This is human trafficking.
And it's being used worldwide to show how terrible, how you can't trust people because really they want to work for ISIS, right? So
let's report our sources, though. Let's be fair. This is the Turkish government has released press releases saying exactly what I'm saying. They captured this guy. He was smuggling people across the border. They have him implicated in 17 other incidents of bringing people into Syria. And he's directly reporting to the ambassador in Jordan.
Okay, so we're saying on this show that Canada is working with ISIS.
Harper is. Harper's running he's running a campaign here. Now, as far as I'm concerned, you know, you can't get any. This is a pretty direct line. Harper comes up with Bill C-51. What's it all about? Protecting us from terrorism. Yeah. So, you know, in the old story about the problem, reaction, solution formula, they present to you a problem, then they elicit a reaction, and they offer a solution. So Harper scares the pants off Canadians, says, oh, terrorism's everywhere, we're in big trouble, and look at what's happening with ISIS over in Syria. The reaction by the Canadian public is, oh, they're all afraid of terrorism. Then Harper offers up Bill C-51 as the solution. You know, and what I'm saying to you is I'm very comfortable with saying this to you because I spent a lot of time looking at this story. My sources are the Ottawa Citizen, the Times Colonist, and also Dr. Chavanovsky.
Michel Chossudovsky, right, from Global Research.
Global Research. Fantastic article on Global Research. Looking at...
Okay, so what are you going to say then? You said you're quite pleased in saying this.
Well, I'm saying that Harper's running a terrorist network. Harper's doing it. You know, if you can't get a more direct link than this,
Yeah.
You know, are we supposed to dream? You know, this is absolutely so direct. He appoints his security officer to become the ambassador to Jordan, Jack. I mean, this is so outrageous. What sort of qualifications did this guy have to become an ambassador?
And if you Google U.S. funds ISIS, you will see hundreds and thousands of articles, many written by very reputable researchers, authors, journalists, who say that the U.S. created ISIS deliberately, funded them with their allies like Saudi Arabia, built ISIS up into the enemy that we have to fight, and now here we are fighting them with new anti-terror laws that are going to turn Canada into a fascist country.
Now, the Globe and Mail ran articles 4 days ago, as did the Ottawa Citizen. You know, they're only reporting on what the Turkish government has said.
I haven't seen anything really.
So, I mean, what's so astonishing, Jack, is should bring a government down immediately. Harper's cabinet should haul him up on the carpet and say,
well, where are the front page stories? Where is it leading the news? Because
I know.
I'm not
but
seeing
if they were acting like citizens to protect this country, our country's under attack right now. You know, it's
from our rulers,
our own prime minister, and the evidence that I'm looking at is showing to me that Harper's involved directly in aiding, abetting the ISIS, which is supposed to be the enemy of Canada. Now, you can't have it both ways. Why is he aiding and abetting ISIS? There can be no other reason other than to create a terrorist threat, which then he can offer a remedy to, and it's Bill C-51. Canadians have to wake up here, Jack. You know, we have to know what's really happening here. This is probably the biggest threat to our society that I can remember. And I don't think we've ever faced a crisis like this, quite this grave.
Since World War II, it seems. Yeah.
Perhaps not, but even there must have been some moral, rationale for going to war. You and I probably wouldn't agree with it. But this is deception. This is lies at the highest level in our government.
Well, let's not forget who was funding Hitler when World War, it's the same story all over again. And once again, I appeal to our local media to report the true story that the Bush family was involved in a bank. Prescott Bush, banker and senator, father of the first President Bush, grandfather of the second President Bush, and there's a third Bush running now. That family was involved in funneling money to create the Nazis. I mean, why does our media, in the midst of all that's happening now, why won't our media even mention that fact? I'm not talking about suggestion or allegation. These are historical facts. And it accentuates, again, the tremendous danger we're in when the corporations, the media, and the politicians work together against us. Something else happened this week, just in the last few days. So today is March 17th. Yesterday, a new border agreement was signed between Canada and the United States, been worked on for years, which the media tells us is going to allow us to cross the border faster to get into the States. Now, that may or may not be true, but what they're not telling us is really this is the next step in what used to be called the Security and Prosperity Partnership, the SPP, which is going to put a border around Canada and the United States, and get rid of the border between us. So we will become one corporate-run nation. That's the plan. So what's happening now is that we're moving towards a time when people who, let's say someone flies from Europe to Toronto and then is going on to Los Angeles, you land in Toronto, you're cleared, you're not entering Canada, you're entering North America. And you're cleared for both countries, Canada and the United States. And the next step is for cargo. So a container ship will offload its cargo, and that cargo will be cleared not for Canada, but for Canada and the United States. Canada is being disappeared before our eyes because the other thing that's happening is one set of regulations, environmental, social, educational, for both countries. This is being done behind the scenes. Nobody knows anything about it. And the media, this pathetic media we have, tells us, oh, these new rules are going to make it easier for you to cross the border and it's going to be good for business. Well, this is how the media manipulates us.
You know, there could be an illusion of freedom of movement. Now, I was just in the bank today, wanting to get a new bank card, and they knew how to have a new, you know, RFID chip in this new card, which I didn't want to have. You know, our credit cards all have this technology. It's built into everyone's cell phones, in the GPS devices in their automobiles. No problem letting us move around. We're just like a bunch of mice in a cage electronically. We're watched 24/7. And so they're not going to worry about us crossing a border. You know, that's just, everyone is watched all the time. That's the new National Security Agency announcement with the Snowden leaks. So this whole border idea, you know, it never's going to help us out.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Jack.
And thanks for watching Citizens Forum. Welcome back. Our guest in this segment is Dawn Evans. Dawn is with the Our Place Society. Dawn, I think everybody kind of knows Our Place one way or another. It's a big part of the downtown community, and I mean, the situation that you guys have to deal with is remarkable and I think totally unnecessary. So maybe you can start, even though people kind of know, what is Our Place?
Well, Our Place is a community center for the poor. I mean, so we're often thought of as the hub for the homeless. I mean, we offer a number of programs and services for people in need. I don't want to say the problem, but is this a growth industry? I mean, it seems like more and more people are there and you have expanded hours and expanded services as well. We're seeing a big increase in the number of people coming in. We actually served 50% more meals in 2014 than the previous year. So it's been a big jump, and part of that's because we're offering a lot more programs and services, so we're meeting more needs. But the two demographics that we're seeing grow the most are in the seniors. We're seeing a lot more people on fixed income. You know, people are living longer. They're dealing with high costs for rent and medications, and they just have a hard time making ends meet. Another area that we're really seeing growth in is the younger people. You know, they can't get jobs. We're seeing people, you know, that are a little more mobile, traveling across the country, looking for work, looking for places that are you know, more child-friendly or youth-friendly, and some of the bigger cities are a little more dangerous, so we're seeing that, an influx of that. And people coming out of things like foster care, you know, I mean, there's just not the support services for people when they leave foster care. And so that's, you know, that's the other area that we're really seeing grow, but you know, we're just seeing higher numbers all over.
So Dawn, I've long thought that this entire situation of homelessness. Now, you said, like, for seniors, you're seeing more and more seniors come in. They probably do have a place to live, but not enough money for food. So they may come down for food and companionship.
You'd be surprised how many seniors are on the street. You know, there's a number of them that aren't housed.
Okay, so then getting back to what I said, I've long thought that this entire situation is completely unnecessary. There's no need. I mean, you're always going to have a few people who, for one reason or another, but I'm sure 95 to 98% of the homeless people would like to have a nice little place to live in and where you can have a life. So am I right or am I wrong? Is this?
Absolutely. I mean, and homelessness is solvable. There's some communities that have made huge progress. I mean, they actually expect Medicine Hat to be the first city in Canada to eliminate homelessness.
I've heard that.
And many communities in Alberta are doing really well, and in the States. I mean, people have 10-year plans, and they're, you know, it requires an investment and affordable housing and supportive housing. But the plans that seem to be working well are plans that have measurables and are accountable, and you know, they do report cards, and you know, they're just making really good progress.
Okay, what's the plan here in BC?
Well, each city has their own plan. I mean, it's a...
Okay, but that's, I often hear on the radio, they'll be interviewing on CFAX or maybe CBC, they'll be interviewing city councilors and saying, what are you doing? But of the three levels of government, it's the cities who have the least ability because the cities don't have any money. The provincial government has money and the federal government has money.
Correct.
So cities may have their plans, but why isn't anything happening except it's getting bigger and worse?
Well, and that's the problem, that the federal government and the provincial governments just aren't there in the way they need to be. I mean, it's not that they're not there, but they're just not putting the resources into it, and the cities just don't have the ability. So in Alberta, you have the corporate sector that's also participating in it. I mean, it's a community problem. We can't expect government to do it all. It's going to require business, individuals, faith communities, government all working together. But certainly we're going to need more support from the government to really tackle the issue.
Okay, so if you were the czar and you were going to solve, let's say you had a budget, a big budget, and you wanted to solve the homeless problem in Victoria in 3 years or 4 years. Can it be done? Can the housing be built? Because how many people are we actually talking about that are really homeless, including the couch surfing and everything else, who just need a
we don't
place? even
actually know. I mean, they
10,000,
count, in Victoria, they count the people that are in temporary accommodation, and the number at the last count was about 1,150. So that's not even counting the people on the street or the people that are couch surfing. So that number could grow quite dramatically.
So we're looking at 2,000 people, 3,000 people?
Well, we're probably, between 1,500 and 2,000 anyway.
Okay. Let's use the number 2,000. So let's say 700, you got 3 years, 700 housing units a year. We're not talking about luxury accommodation. We're talking about a nice small place where a person can have a sitting room and a kitchen.
Yeah, the other missing thing though is prevention. I mean, you have to prevent people from falling into crisis and into homelessness, and people will always come into crisis. I mean, people will lose jobs, they'll have health problems, they'll marriage breakups. I mean, things will happen, but you need to have the support there to help people out of it. And if someone ends up in crisis and goes on social assistance, they give you $375 for rent. It's not enough. So it forces people into homelessness, and then you don't even get the $375. People coming out of jail, 60% of the people in the provincial jail are homeless. And if you don't have the supports, you just end up cycling through, through the jails and through homelessness. And, people being discharged from the hospital. I mean, there's so many things that are feeding it that need to be addressed at the same time. We don't have any government-funded treatment center in this city. So people that are trying to deal with addiction issues in this community, it's just really hard to find the support. Lack of mental health services. So until we address those kind of things, we're going to continue to see more people become homeless.
Okay,
and
so how do you address those issues? It seems like you've got to have a place for them to live when they get out of jail, when they have a problem that suddenly you don't have a place to go. There could be.
So there needs to be,
and it's got to be supportive. It's got to be. I mean, I'm talking about supportive housing where it's safe. It's clean. It's nice. It's well built. And we can have that.
Right, and it's got to have the support service to deal with the mental health and addiction issues.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we just started going into the provincial jail and doing some pre-release work. So we go in and deal with people's situations 30 days before they get out, and try to connect them to housing and treatment services in the community, which is still not a long time to be able to do that, but it's better than when they just get out and end up on our doorstep. We find that people coming out of jail, if they've often had some time to think and they want to change their lives, they've gained 30 pounds or, from eating regularly, and they've gotten off drugs, and they get out, and if there's nothing there for them, it doesn't take long before they're back on the street and back on drugs and then back in the jails. The other thing that we really want to try to see happen in this city is a therapeutic community. So an actual place for people to go when they are released from jail, instead of going back onto the street, that they actually have a place that they can go and live and work on their recovery and be in a community that's supportive, and then transition into the community, about a year later.
we were talking earlier about costs, and you know, as I'm talking about, yeah, why don't we have housing for people who are homeless? And people are saying, where's the money going to come from? It's actually, I think, cheaper to do that than to have people homeless and pay for them to have a shelter to go to every night, and all the associated health costs, police costs, and etc. So it's actually the cheapest way to go, I think, is to create homes for the homeless. Am I?
You're absolutely right. I mean, it's much cheaper. You know, the average cost of having somebody living on the street is about $55,000 a year. And if it's somebody that's been street entrenched for a long period of time, that number can easily run up over to $100,000 a year. And like you said, it's for shelters, it's for law enforcement, it's for emergency room visits and healthcare services and people that, cycling through the jails. I mean, all of those services are extremely expensive, and it's about $32,000 a year to house somebody with supports. So with supports for their mental health and their addiction issues, so it's not just the right thing to do, but it's the financially fiscal thing to do. The thing is, it takes an investment.
So I'm just going to ask you to repeat those numbers, and everybody can just think of how crazy are we as a society when we're doing the opposite. I think you said $32,000 to provide.
The average cost is $32,000 a year to provide housing with supports.
And that means a homeless person, or street person, or a person who needs help will have a place to live, and people assisting in trying to help them back into normal life and recovery, because that's $32,000 and it's good. Now we're spending $50,000.
Average of $55,000 per person.
To keep them on the street. So there is something very wrong going on here.
Well, and I think part of the problem is too that you actually have to take that money and put it into it. So if you don't, if there's going to be less cost for law enforcement and for emergency room visits, you have to take money out of those systems, and that's the tough part, because then you have to start cutting those budgets and putting the money elsewhere. Yeah. The thing is, in the long term, you're going to save money.
And actually, there's lots of money that can be brought in from other places and used to do what has to be done. I mean,
and it's going to require capital investment, and that's where the province and the federal government need to come in to play a part.
So let's just say there are solutions. We can solve this problem. We shouldn't even have this problem. We should have solved it many years ago, but here we are today, which is why our place is so important in stemming the tide. So programs and services at our place, what is there for people?
Yeah, so we have a lot of different programs. I mean, we deal with some of the basic needs like food. We serve 1,500 meals a day. We have showers, we have a drop-in center, we have clothing, we have a recreational games room. But more than that, we have 45 different programs that are designed to help people meet their needs around education, employment. We have different employment programs, healthcare programs. We have a new medical room that we've built. 25% of the people that we see are Aboriginal. So we have a residential school survivor counselor that comes in, and we have a healing circle. We have acupressure. We have things like art therapy, music, choir, knitting. There's just a whole number of different things to assist people in many different ways. So as you said,
a community center for the homeless.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. What's the feeling around the place?
Well, there's hope there. I mean, because there's so many different opportunities. I mean, opportunities bring hope. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things that we can bring to people. And then a sense of belonging. So, we don't turn anybody away. Everyone's welcome. We're low barrier. And so people are treated with unconditional love, non-judgmental, so that, it's home for so many people in this community.
I mean, this is a time of, I think, fairly high unemployment, high costs. How do people break out? I mean, can people break out? I mean, if you're in the bottom few percent of the economic ladder, how do you get out of it? When
it's extremely hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, to try and compete for jobs when you're, you know, when you're homeless or living in poverty, it's really hard. I mean, you don't even have money for clothes, you know, to go to an interview. So you get trapped in that poverty so easily. You know, we're working hard on trying to get funding for an employment program that really goes from taking people from right where they are, right from the, you know, the pre-employment, you know, just hygiene issues and responsibility and some of those very early stage things that people need, and then working on some different training programs for people and mentoring and support. You know, people, once they get jobs, they need support to be able to maintain those jobs. If somebody's dealing with addiction issues or mental health issues and they have an outburst of anger or something, there needs to be someone to support the individual, but also the employer. You know, so we're looking at hopefully doing something in this area over the next year, and we've had a really popular sponsored breakfast program that's been really popular with the business communities, where the business community comes in and pays for the cost of the breakfast and comes in and serves it. And so we've been developing these relationships with businesses, and we've been talking to them about, you know, providing some job opportunities for some of the people that we serve, and they seem to be really open to it. So it's, you know, we think that we can, you know, really help in that area.
Yeah. A friend of mine was just in Northern Europe, and he said he just didn't see it there. He was in Germany, Austria, maybe Sweden, Denmark. There weren't people living on the streets. There weren't homeless. There weren't people pushing shopping carts. So we can definitely solve this problem.
Well, and when you go to some of these other countries, and even if you go to Alberta, someone on disability in Alberta gets, I think it's $1,488 a month to live on. And here it's $900. That extra $500 can make a big difference.
Yeah, lets you have a place to live.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, so I think when you go to, you know, some of these European countries and some of these other countries, that if someone's in crisis, the supports are enough for them to actually survive.
Yes.
Where here, it just isn't.
But here there used to be, because when I was growing up in Canada, these problems were very more minimal than they are now.
Yeah, I mean, it just hasn't kept up.
Yeah.
Hasn't kept up with the cost of living. You know, the rates just haven't been raised, you know, to the levels that they need to be. This is one of the most expensive cities in the country to live.
As we all know.
Yeah.
Last question. Does mild weather, you know, has Victoria got a big problem because we've got mild weather, which all of us want to come to live in?
And often people think that, but you know, it hasn't been my experience. I mean, most people that we're seeing are people that are from this area and from the island. You know, anybody that isn't from the island has probably come here years ago for work or love, and things haven't worked out. But people that are homeless don't generally move because you're dealing with a lot of mental health issues, and there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of fear. They need to be around close to the surroundings that they know. So for somebody to move from another city to here when you're homeless is really, really challenging, and it's not, we don't see very much of it. Where you do see some of it, the transient homeless population, is around the young people because they're a little more mobile and they're not entrenched into it.
It's a big problem. We can definitely solve it. Our place is one of the solutions, but we need the housing, and our provincial and federal governments have got to build it. It's really, if we want to solve the problem, that's what we have to do, and if we're not solving it, you have to wonder why not. Don Evans, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for watching this segment of Citizens Forum. Welcome back. I'd like to start by thanking the Shaw staff and our volunteer crew that makes the show happen every week. Our guest in this segment is Vicky Chih. Vicky is my Chinese medicine doctor. We're going to be talking about Chinese medicine in general and also health in the spring. Spring is coming. Now, Vicky, you practice what's called the Yang, Y-A-N-G, Yang School of Chinese Medicine. How is that different from what's generally called more modern Chinese medicine?
As we know, the symbol of Chinese medicine is yin and yang. Okay, so in modern Chinese medicine, we think yin and yang has to be balanced. Okay, but in what I learned after school about the yang school of Chinese medicine, we focus on promote more yang energy than yin energy. Yeah, which means we think yang energy is much more important than yin energy.
And what is yang energy?
Yang energy is, people usually say energy, yeah, and which is invisible. And yang energy bring the body warm feeling and better energy.
So it's sunshine energy.
Yeah, which is from the nature, we usually say sunshine energy, yeah, of the nature. And the sunshine energy of the nature will bring yang energy into the system. So they are kind of same.
So what that means in practical everyday terms is I'm drinking warm water here, not cold water like I used to, because in the yang style of Chinese medicine, keeping the body warmed up and not introducing coldness into it is important for health.
Yes, and how about the yin energy? Yeah, yin energy in Chinese medicine means all the visible materials belong to yin energy. But as we know, if the yin energy, all the materials, including your blood, your bone, your tendon, muscle, without warm energy flowing inside, the yin energy, the materials is dead.
So the yin is more the heart, liver, and all the
more
actual
visible materials.
Yeah. And the yang is more the flow of energy.
Flow energy, yeah. Mm-hmm. So if we have more sunshine energy flow in the system, then we will have better health and feel warm and better emotion and less illness. Yeah.
How much sunshine energy is there in the body?
Actually, it all depends. Many three reasons to decide how much sunshine energy in your system. So the first reason is age. Yeah, as we know, the baby, in Chinese medicine, we say the baby is full of 100% sunshine energy. That's why baby usually don't feel tired, right? They just run and run and run, and then they tired, they just fall asleep. Yeah, and so, but when we are older, the sunshine energy naturally reduce. Yeah, when we are older and older, we feel colder and colder, which means the sunshine energy is not a lot. Yeah, not as much as the baby, right? Yeah, so depends on age. And then second, depends on the body, the health condition when we are born. When we were born, we have a saying, usually we say, before 10 years old, if I have problem, I have to see my mother's health. Yeah, so the problem probably from mother, okay, before 10 years old. But after 10 years old, if we have illness or problem, then we have to see the lifestyle. That means the problem more from wrong lifestyle. Yeah, and so that's the second reason to see how much
and I'll
sunshine
just say
energy.
that in Canada, there's a lot of wrong lifestyle, including me for many, many, many years, and even now. Mm-hmm. You know, it's okay.
Yeah, and the third reason, it depends on the season. Yeah, that's why we are going to talk about how to help the body in spring, because different season, there is different amount or volume of sunshine energy there. Yeah.
So we're moving into spring, the time
of course, summer more, and winter much less, and the spring and the autumn are between spring and the summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So spring is just starting now, and what's the connection between spring and the body?
Yeah, I remember last time we talked about winter. So winter connected to kidney, because in winter, the body door closed, and that's why all the sunshine energy has to stay inside the organ to help keep the organ warm and then keep the life going. But in spring, the body door open. Okay, the energy to open the door is liver, yeah, and gallbladder, mainly liver. Okay, and so when the body open in spring, the gate open in spring, so all the sunshine energy try to come out from internal organ, and that's why bring a lot of things out. Yeah, so that's why in spring, spring season connected to liver and gallbladder. Yeah, so it's a good timing to do something for liver and gallbladder to help the body in summer, autumn, and winter. Yeah.
Now, spring is also a time of allergies, and is there a connection? How does Chinese medicine see allergies and the springtime?
Yeah, actually, allergy, as I said from last time, allergy is the body in spring because the door open and lots of toxin hiding inside. In winter, we do less, so less sweating, less activity. So a lot of heat or toxin keep inside. But in spring, the door open. That's why lots of dampness, cold energy, okay, and including heat, extra fire or toxin try to come out. Yeah, that's why the biggest door of the body is lung, and lung connected to skin and nose, and that's why when the door open, all the dampness come out from. That's why we have runny nose or more sneeze, or some people has rash skin, itchy skin or itchy eyes. Yeah, and all these symptoms shows the body try to push lots of bad stuff which the body doesn't like to come out. And if we can help the body by taking some proper herbs or ginger or like some spice, and then to help the body to have a better cleanse, and then the body won't have other problem in the future, including arthritis, pain problem, or a lot of big problem. Yeah, if we stop it, if we stop the close the door by taking some drugs, yeah, then that won't be good for the body, for sure.
Are there any special problems that we get in spring that are connected to this liver thing?
To liver, yes. We do have some special health issue in spring, quite happen often. All depends on if you have a strong liver. If your liver is quite strong, then in spring you might have some fire syndrome. Okay, because liver connected to sunshine energy a lot and bring the sunshine energy up. And the fire syndrome, including some people easy to get anger, and some people have dry eyes, or dry nose, or dry lips, or like a canker sore, yeah, or like a blood pressure go high. Some people ringing ear. Some people even got diarrhea. Why diarrhea? That is because liver fire attacked your spleen, which means your spleen is weaker. Yeah, so that's some symptoms for people who has strong liver. But some people doesn't have strong liver. They have a bit weaker energy of the liver, right? So when the liver energy weak, then usually we feel tired. Yeah, we wanted to sleep longer in the morning. We don't want to get up. Yeah, or in the morning we feel stiff joint, tendon. Yeah, that also liver is tired, low energy, or liver is too cold. Yeah, all these symptoms. And some people even have heart problem. The heart problem might be worse. including palpitation or tight chest or short breath. Why? Because liver is the mother of heart. So liver support heart. When liver is weaker, for people who has heart problem, those symptoms might be maybe worse. Yeah. And another problem in spring is as what we talk allergy. Yeah. But we try to help the body to go through the allergy by taking herbs instead of drugs. Yeah, that will be good for your whole life. The health.
So if somebody has allergies in the spring, I mean, we always think of allergies as being caused by the pollen and dust in the air.
Yes, yes.
But you're saying that in Chinese medicine it's seen a different way. That's not the cause.
Yes.
The cause is just your body trying to bring out toxins and waste within it.
Yeah, exactly. Because Chinese medicine has been in this world for thousand years, and same as the nature. The nature has been here for thousand years. Yeah, so that's why we don't blame for the nature. Yeah, we just have to think of the body might have some problem, and that's why the body cannot switch smoothly between two seasons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people get these allergy problems year after year after year. In Chinese medicine, how would you treat someone or help someone so that they have it this year, but it's going to get better? You're going to fix things up.
If any problem happen between two seasons, like between spring and the winter, or some people have some other problem between autumn and the winter, any problem between two seasons, that means digestive system has problem, weaker, or some blockage there. And that's why for allergy, spring allergy, we don't only treat liver, but we also have to treat spleen and the stomach.
So you don't treat the allergy, you treat the liver,
yes.
which is, you think, the root cause of the problem.
Yes, yes.
What can we do in spring to give us better health?
Yes, we have to do something for liver for sure, and gallbladder. Okay, so in Chinese medicine we suggest 3 things to help your liver and the body in spring. So number 1 is to don't put away your winter jacket too early. Yeah, we have to keep the body as warm as we can in spring. Even we say before June, we are not supposed to throw away your winter jacket. Yeah, especially your neck, your whole back, and your belly, okay, and your feet. This portion of the body you have to cover by the clothes.
So
more.
protect and keep warm.
Yes.
Which is a good thing to do certainly throughout the winter and then into the spring.
Yes.
Okay.
And this spot is more sunshine energy there. Yeah, and easy to catch cold energy. Yeah, like a bare feet on floor, which is not good. Okay. Yeah, we have to put the socks and also scarf and cover your back. Yeah, and the belly. These point are weaker spot. Yeah, for the body. So that's number 1. And number 2, we have to help your digestive system, nourish your digestive system. Because spleen help liver, okay? Spleen and stomach help liver to function better.
Now, you're talking a lot about the liver. We should just mention that the liver is probably the single most important and complex organ in the body.
Yes.
We don't talk about the liver much. We're thinking more of heart in Western medicine, but the liver is actually where it's at.
Exactly. Liver actually corresponding to the strategy, you know, to decide something. It depends on liver. Also, liver control your action. Yeah, if you have lots of action, then your liver is strong. If you don't want to do anything, you just wanted to lie down, and you don't want to touch or to have some contact with people, that means your liver is very weak. Okay, so liver represent action and determination.
Okay.
Okay.
So number 1 was warm clothes. Number
Yes.
2 was digestive
Digestion.
system.
Yeah, and so reduce sour taste of the food, and increase more sweet. I mean, sweet means like a carbohydrate.
Okay.
Yeah, we needed to eat some carbohydrate to nourish the brain. So brain needs carbohydrate. Don't forget. Yeah, a lot of people wanted to lose weight, so they don't touch any carbohydrate. So gradually, the brain will have some problem. Yeah, that's we have to think about it. Yeah,
Okay.
we need a carbohydrate. Yeah, more or less for everybody. Okay, and also that's for stomach, for spleen. Also and the third, so number 1 is protect the body from cold energy, right? And the number 2, eat properly and nourish your digestive system. Yeah, including eat a breakfast, okay? And then number 3 is to protect your liver. Yeah, how to protect your liver? Yeah, we needed to do more exercise to help the body blood circulation. Yeah, to help liver, and also we can do more exercise with deeper breathing. Yeah, instead of short breath. Yeah, in Chinese medicine, we don't promote the harder exercise, like jogging a lot and sweating a lot. We don't promote. Yeah, and because we think too heavy breathe and sweating too much, it will make the body weak. Yeah, so we do gentle exercise, like
And
a
we're going
walk.
to have to end right
like
there.
a walk, yeah.
Vicky, thank you very much. Gentle exercise, good food, and thank you for watching. Thank you for watching a little bit about Chinese medicine on Citizens Forum. Bye-bye.
Thank you.